Welcome back to the channel everyone, and for the first time on this channel in like 2 years, I'm going to be taking you through the full process of making a cosplay. The cosplay in question this time being Uroro from Ichi the Witch. Or well, technically Uroro possessing the body of Ichi from Ichi the Witch. And so in this video I'll take you through how I made this cosplay, and hopefully you will learn something, be it from my successes in this build or the mistakes I made along the way. Anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so we're starting with the shirt, and on the shirt is a white, like, ruffle detail. Now, if I wasn't lazy, I would have done this, sewed this, but I'm lazy, so I'm making this out of foam. I'm some extra lazy, I literally bought some white foam just so I wouldn't have to paint it. So as you can see, I'm measuring out kind of the dimensions I want it to be, and then chopping it out with some scissors. I've got to line it up against the black shirt I'm using, which was just like a thrifted one I finted. So I'm just going to line it up so it matches perfectly, so, you know, collar down to the bottom of it. Yeah, we're just cutting out just a normal rectangle. Yeah, as you can see, I'm just measuring up, making it sure it looks good, and I'm just chopping the end off a bit like this just to make the collar shape. You're not going to see it anyway, it's going to be covered up by like a feather neck thing, so it doesn't really need to be that neat, but that is what we are doing. We're then next going to cut some details into it with a X-Acto knife type shebang. So we're literally just measuring out the ruler and just running the blade through the foam. Again, we don't want to go all the way through the foam, we just want to go deep enough that, you know, it makes a visible mark that's, you know, it's a pattern or something like that. So actually we're just measuring it out equally and just chopping it up with the ruler and the knife. So as you can see here, you can see the nice lines in it now. Doesn't that look great? So once again, we're just going to measure it up, make sure it fits perfectly. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get some super glue. We're just going to glue the bottom of it down. We're not going to glue the top down because it's a bit difficult to get on and it might rip the foam trying to put it on that. But if we glue the bottom, it'll stay attached. And then we can Velcro the tops in. I'm pretty sure right now I'm going to glue the top because that's originally was the plan. I'm not sure how much of what I've cut. Yeah. So originally I glued this down, but as I just said, it didn't work out. So later on, you will see that I've actually switched out to Velcro. Anyway, onto the arm details. There's like these gold lines up the sleeves. So I basically just 3D printed some very thin TPU gold things. But because my print bed is only so big, I couldn't print out the full length I need. So as you can see, I've just kind of glued two together. And then we're just simply gonna glue it down. Could use fabric glue for this, might be smarter, but I'm lazy, so I use cheap and nasty super glue, as you can see. And we don't need to go all the way down to the cuffs because we're gonna have a braces, so we don't need to cover all the way to the bottom. We just need to go up to the shoulders. And again, like the cloak's gonna cover the shoulders anyway, so we just want it to look good on the visible parts. We don't need to go all the way to each end of the arm because they will be covered up. So I think I did 4 on each arm. I could be wrong, could be 5, but yeah, just sticking them down, simple as that. Next up, we're going to do the collar. And so for the collar, we are using some EVA foam. I think it's 3mm, and we're just cutting, you know, a normal, like big long rectangle. And we're cutting out the details as we see in the design because he's kind of got like, you know, these squares cut out of it. And we're just cutting a slight curve in the back as well. As you can see, we are test fitting it, so again, you could sew this on if you really wanted to, but I'm being lazy, so I'm just gonna make sure it fits nicely like so. As you can see, you know, it just goes around the neck, and then we're just gonna use originally I carve in the design with pyrography tool, just burn it into the foam. As you'll see, this does not stick. I then switch to using puffy paint, which is like a 3D paint, and it will dry in that 3D sense, so it's quite good for 3D. I think it's nice and glossy, so we're actually going to just use this instead. I think in a minute, if I didn't cut it out, I think we go, yeah, we're going to do it? We might not do it, we'll see if I'm going to do it. Anyway, we're drawing designs, make it look, it doesn't need to look, there we go. Yeah, as I say, I went over the burn bits with puffy paint just to make it look nice. Again, the designs aren't the neatest, but you can't really see them anyway, because they're going to be behind the cloak, and we're just going to paint them gold with some gold acrylic. And yeah, no technique to this. We're just adding the gold paint until it's nice and gold. And this is a decent paint, so it should flex nicely. I don't have much issue with that. We're going to obviously clear coat the thing though, because we love a clear coat on this channel. And then as you can see, yep, it just goes round like that. And to attach it, we're just going to use some Velcro. So we're just going to cut out some bits of Velcro. I'm going to stick them onto the ends of the collar, and then we'll just stick the same thing onto the the actual collar of the shirt. So when you're wearing it, it'll literally just, here we go, I'm doing it right now. It literally just Velcros on very nicely like that. Yes, past me, you can do this well. Come on, you've got this. There you go, past me. Excellent, you look fabulous, don't you? So yeah, that is the collar. It looks a bit shit at the back, but we're covering up with a cape anyway, so it doesn't matter. Speaking of said cape, sorry for that, or I guess more of a cloak, what we're doing here is we're going for a no-sew design here because I hate sewing. So what we got is some red, like, faux fur stuff, and then we got some white faux fur stuff. So we're literally just cut them both to be the exact same size, and we're just going to glue the edges of the white down onto the edges of the red. So we're making basically a double-lined fabric here without the need for sewing. We're just gluing it down, and because they're both no-fray fabrics, we don't need to worry about, you know, annoying fraying fabrics. So I'm not sure how much of this I've cut. Okay, there we go. Yeah, and so we're just going to cut off the excess because I think we had more white than we did red. So we're just cutting that off to make a nice big square. Realistically, you shouldn't do a big square. You should do like a normal cloak kind of shape, which is kind of like a cone shape. There's the cat. But I didn't have that much fabric. I was being lazy. So we're just cutting out a neck hole at the top, and we're running some glue down the side of the red bit so we can fold it over, as you can see, so we can have like a white trim. Again, no sewing. We're all about the no sew on this channel. I can sew for the record, but I just don't like it. And it's more accessible to people because a lot of people don't want to sew. I'm not sure what we're doing here. What are we doing? Oh yeah. We want to add a. It's got like this kind of like split on the bottom of the cape, so we're just using the neck hole as like the middle, and then we're just cutting it down. Simple as that. I don't know what this design's meant to be, but it's kind of like this free split end of the cape. So we're just chopping it up, and yep, that was all that was. We're now trying to make more of that cone shape. We're chopping off the corners of the top of the cape. There's a lot of finagling that went into this. A lot of it I didn't film because it was a nightmare, but just know there was a lot of finagling to get this to look kind of decent. Should just do the cone shape from the start. It'll make your life so much easier. Don't be lazy like me because you end up paying for it in the future. Like as you can see me at the moment. Next up, we're doing the sleeves. These are like fake sleeves, they don't actually work, but there are some sleeves on the cloak, and I couldn't be bothered to make functioning sleeves, so we're just, you know, chopping equal lengths for two sheets, and then we're just going to cut the end so it's kind of rounded. This is going to be like the sleeve, where the sleeve attaches, and then we're simply just going to glue the edges and turn it into like a little sausage. So that will be our fake sleeve. I don't know how much. Again, I organize the clips first and do commentary over the top of them. It's easier, but sometimes I don't know what clips come next. Which means we are currently. Oh yeah. So we're literally just snatching it. So literally just roughly eyeballing where I want it to sit when I'm wearing it, and then we're just gonna glue it down. Simple as that. But we also need to make the cuffs for this. So again, we're just using some EVA foam. This is a very old scrap. That's why it looks like it's in a very sorry state. But again, it's pretty easy because we're just cutting out a cylinder, which is a rectangle, rolled and then glued at the edge like that. Pretty simple stuff. For how we're going to decorate this, I believe we're using the pyrography tool for this, but we will see in a minute. Oh yeah, first we'll heat gun it, or we've got heat gun time. We never done heat gun time, we'll make life so much easier. Yeah, we're using the pyrography tool, which is what we started doing on the earlier piece, but gave up. On this one, we do commit to it though. And again, it's a detail that no one's really looking at, so it doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to give off the design. I am vaguely going off the actual design for the manga, but it's not the clearest, and it's quite complicated, so we're just doing our own inspired take, you could say, on the thing, and, you know, just go over it once or twice. The pyrography tool obviously gets hotter as you go on, so you don't want it to be super hot, because it gets a bit like this, where it's like really cutting in, but you want enough to make it look good. And then again, we're just going to add some gold acrylic and just paint this guy gold. Simple as that. And I assume the next clip will be us gluing them together. No, it isn't. It's the clear coat. As you know on the channel, we love a clear coat. So yeah, we're just spraying them, which is great. And then now we're going to glue them together. So just a bit of super glue on one end, like so. Come on, man, get a move on. And then we add the activator, of course. Activator is key with super glue because it means it doesn't take as long. and I'm very lazy. And then we're just sticking that together to make a nice looking cuff. And obviously we do this twice with the other cuff, but I believe I did not film it for both because why would I do that? You guys can understand, just do it again. And so, again, we're just gluing the cuff on. We're just going to kind of just shove it inside there. We just make, like, I think 2 points of contact. Again, it's not functional, so it just needs to look the part. So as long as we just glue on both sides of the inside and just kind of like fold it in basically like so, you can't really tell. Okay, so next up, we're going to add the gold trims onto these sleeves as well, like we did with the shirt. So it's exactly the same process, just, you know, exactly the same. And my shoulder is in the way for some reason. Not quite sure what my camera work was doing there. Oh, here is the Velcro for the cloak, how it attached to the shirt. Literally just a bit of Velcro that just kind of attaches like around, like above the arms, basically. And here we are adding on the gold spots onto the cloak. Basically, I'm just dry brushing some gold acrylic on. Eventually, I stopped dry brushing it and just normally paint it because it honestly looks about the same. There's a lot of these. This took a long time, but it is literally as simple as just dry brushing and then painting just some gold spots, as you can see, all over the white bit on the inside and the bits that curve on the outside. Yeah, simple as that. Okay, and next we're on to the feather neck main thing. Basically, what we're doing is getting a bit of elastic, just enough that isn't too tight, isn't too loose basically, and we're gluing that to a strip of black rooster feathers, which I use a lot of these in this project, as you'll especially see on the trousers, but really good stuff. Really, you know, I mean, they're real feathers, they look the part. So yeah, so we're just making it the correct length so it sits on my neck nicely, and then I just add a load of feathers onto it because I want it to be nice and long, like obviously like Uroro has it. Next onto the bracers. They were 3D printed from this file here. Thank you, guy who made this. And they are just gold TPU bracers, basically, just standard shape ones. So yeah, just using the puffy paint like we used on the collar. And as you can see, one is already done. That is because it's quite an intricate design. And again, I'm not going 100% accurate. I just want to get the spirit of the design. So I needed to look at my phone to make sure the design was good on the first one. And now I'm just like copying the first bracer to do the second bracer, as you can see, just adding on the details. As you can see, I'm putting some details on the back. Don't worry, even with the bend of opening and closing the bracers, the design will look fine. It's not the neatest of work, but again, with so much detail, it's just going to kind of blend in your eye. It's going to look good. And so we have, you know, two bracers, and they both look somewhat identical. And so here it is, see, the 3D paint has set and it is nice and 3D, gives a very nice texture, and even see when we open it, you know, nothing's going to change, it's going to keep its shape. So what we need to do next is paint it, and I just dry brush some gold acrylic all over it. In hindsight, maybe I should have done like I did on the neck, and basically, you know, fully painted it gold instead of dry brushing. At the time, I thought, you know, it gives it kind of like an ancient look. But yeah, I probably should have just done the gold. I didn't mind the black pointing, like poking through, but like I think the solid gold would have looked a little better. But you know, it still looks good. You're still pretty happy, and again, when it's this detail, it all just kind of blends in. And lastly, for these bracers, we need to add the feathers. So it's the same black rooster feather strip that we used previously on the neck. We will use again for a few other things. And yeah, actually, we literally just take a bit and like scrunch it round the inside of the bracer. And like everything on this in this video or on this channel in general, super glue is king. So we're just going to put a line of super glue on the inside of the bracer so we can just stick the feathers down. See, like this, we just put it in, stick it down, and you know, Bob's your uncle. It's very simple, cheap and easy, as I like to do on this channel. Okay, we're on to Tinkercad now. Oh boy, I love Tinkercad. Tinkercad, who for those who don't know what it is, it's a free online CAD software. Very good for basic 3D modelling if you cannot be bothered to use Blender. I can use Blender, but I prefer using this. It's just easier and I'm lazy. So basically what we're doing here is we're making the kind of like heart medallion thing on Ichi's chest, and so also on Uroro's chest when, you know, he's taken over Ichi's body. So for this, I basically just made a heart shape, hollowed it out, and I want to print this 2 pieces, one gold, one red. So what I'm basically doing is making like a slight like indent in the piece so they'll just sit together nicely. Let's just make it so it all lines up perfectly. So what we've got to do now is we've got to make the heart thing look kind of like crystalline, like it does in the manga. So to do this, I'm sorry, this is a real bod you're about to watch. I basically got like this gemstone type shape, and I kind of just spammed it everywhere and made a crystal border. And I could have genuinely like just mirrored this and had it identical on both sides, but I wanted it not to, because I don't know, it felt more like natural, like a natural crystalline formation if it wasn't 100%, symmetrical. So yeah, I just made this outline, I group it into one object. Always do this because it's going to make your life so much easier if you group stuff. When you don't, it can cause problems. And so yeah, we're just putting it inside like a null object of the outside of the heart, so we can just cut it and cut the edge off, make it completely snug and fit with the other shapes. There's like a pattern inside of it, so we're designing that. I start off by just doing it with actual shapes. Very soon, as you can see in the reference image, it gets quite complicated, so I was like, you know what, custom shapes it is. So Tinkercad's got this really nice feature where you can basically draw your own custom shapes with your mouse. So for this, it was a godsend, because like, yeah, this is not the most accurate thing in the world, but it gets the general gist of the design across, and that's kind of all I'm going for. I want to look close enough, because no one's realistically looking that closely at the heart thing. It just makes it look good, and so we just mirror it to make sure it's identical on both sides. Which actually raises a good point, because if I replicate the heart on both sides, then the thing I said earlier about how I was trying to make it look not 100% symmetrical, that kind of completely goes out the window because I've just made it 100% symmetrical. So ignore everything I said, because I only just realised that was yeah, I should have done that. Anyway, so we're printing this in a red filament. I think it's PLA, it could be PTG, I think it's PLA though. And then like everything on this channel, we coat it in clear coat. Lots of clear coat to make it look like a nice shiny gemstone. So we're not going to put any clear coat on this, which is the golden aspect, because it will make the, what's it called? It'll make the red bit, as you see, it fits in nicely. It'll make the red bit look like more pop, because it won't be clear coated, if that makes sense. And yeah, we're just literally just adding some glue for security on the back of it, just to make sure it all like fits nicely and it stays one piece. And we're just going to glue here a little tag clip thing, so we can put a safety pin through this, and that's how we're going to attach it to the shirt, just so it can come on and off if needed. But it also means that it kind of like hangs and will move, give some passive movement to the cosplayer as the medallion can swing around rather than just being glued in place. For the crown, we've just got a simple crown design made by whoever his name is on screen, and what I literally did was I just got the crown, made a duplicate of the crown, and I kind of just made it slightly bigger and slightly shorter. And as you can see now, I kind of just line it up and kind of like that. So it looks a bit like Uroro's crown, which is pretty cool, I think. And then it just prints it out, and it's just a standard golden crown. Next up, the belt. I just got this belt off Vintage, just a faux leather belt thing. Okay, back onto Tinkercad, because we're going to make these weird tassel things that come out the back of the belt. Basically, I'm going to print these in TPU in 3 layers. I'm going to have 2 like full layers on the outside, and I'm going to sandwich a small layer in between, and the small layer will just be red and the 2 outer layers will be black. It just makes painting easier, so I'm just sandwiching the coloured bit in between the 2 black bits. In theory, easy. In practice, this was a bit of a pain. We basically need heart shapes that are hollowed out, and then we need a thinner bit that is the same, a little bigger than the hollowed out bit, so we're just sitting there kind of nicely. So I just need to make sure they line up nicely, and then we're just going to join the hearts together to make like a long chain, basically. We can't print the whole of a chain in one go. Printer's bed's not big enough for that. I can't remember how many parts we have to put it in, but yeah, we're just essentially just making just a long chain with a big heart on the back. It's like so. And then, yeah, we just group that all together and we stick it onto the thing. And there you see that's essentially one tassel. We just need to print it. So as you can see, that's what's needed for one tassel. And we print 4. I actually only need 3. I'll talk about this at the end of the video, but for some reason I thought I needed 4 of these things when I needed 3. So once they're printed, we're just going to paint the middle bits red, as said. So we're going to paint a lot of these little hearts and then sandwich them. I could have brought a red TPU, it would have been a bit easier, but I don't feel the need to buy a filament I'm not going to use much of. So here you go. This is all of the little red hearts. There's a lot of them. And these are the black bits. Not the best at printing. My printer was being a bit of an idiot at the time. So yeah, as you can see, we're literally just going to stick the red bit like that. Yeah, see, it's a pretty ingenious idea. It just, in practice, was a bit of a pain to do. So yeah, we just put some glue around, stick it in. I should have made the hearts bigger. It would have made sticking these easier. Then we put some glue on the black bit, and then we just put an identical black bit onto the top, like that, lining it up. And there we go. We've got a tassel bit. And we just need to assemble, basically, a whole tassel by sticking together multiple tassel pieces. Like so. So this is all the 4 bits that needed to make one tassel. And it is literally as simple as just gluing them together like so. See? Simple as. Although I think I accidentally glued that the wrong way around. I'm sure, yeah, I fixed it now. That was a classic Seth mistake. So yeah, and then we just add on the last bit. So we have the tail on. Looks pretty good to me. And then we're just gluing it onto the back of the belt. As you see, there's 4. There should only be 3. I'll explain that later. But yeah, you just glue them to the back of the belt. And so when I put the belt on, as you can see, yeah, they just stay there quite nicely. Moving on to the trousers. First off, we're doing these kind of like gold bead necklacey thing that was wrapped around the leg. So we've just printed some like gold beads with a hole through the middle. And we're just putting some wire through. This is jewelry wire. I got this years ago for my Apollo cosplay. But I have loads of it lying around. So we're just going to weave the bits through until we have a full bit like that. And then to kind of seal it up, we're just going to super glue the ends. God, I had so much trouble with this. I never have fun with like jewelry wire and stuff. It just always seems to break on me and it's a nightmare. But basically what we're going to do is we're just going to wrap around the leg and glue it. I will say I had to re-glue this a few times to move it like higher up the leg because it was too low to start with and it kept breaking. So it's a nightmare, but just know that, as you can see, it's glued to the trousers. It may be glued in a different spot now, but it is still the same method as you can see on camera. Just I had to redo it. So there you go. See how low it is. It needs to go way higher than that because where the rate it currently is, see it's glued at the back there. It would be covered up by feathers. And there's also just a normal gold band. It's above it or below it. Above it, I think. So again, it's the exact same little strips we used for the arms. But this time we're just going to wrap them around the leg instead. Same methodology as we did with the beads. Just, glued around the leg like that. Just wrap them around and glue. Ignore the feathers. I'm about to get to the feathers, but I didn't film this in the order that I want to talk about it. Just because, I'm like that. So on to the trousers, where we need to add lots of feathers. This is really as simple as just gluing strips of feathers to trousers. That is really that simple. So you want to cut the strip so it's slightly wider than the trousers. This is so we can wrap it round. So you just want to glue it slightly on both sides. Like so, and then we're going to flip the trousers over, and then we're going to wrap the ends round so they glue on the back, and then we just do the same all the way up the leg, and then we turn it over to this side and do the same on the other side of the leg. So it's literally just both sides of the leg hole. We just glue strips of feathers until we have essentially a full leg of feathers. In practice, it's actually quite simple. You just got to add a lot of feathers and make the gap between different layers quite small, otherwise you'll just see a lot of white poking through. So as you can see, there we go, that's a whole leg done with a lot of rooster feathers. But for the tops of it, because we don't want it to look a bit like a cutoff, we're just going to glue one strip going the other way, like so. See, look, it adds a bit of a upwards movement and it makes the whole thing kind of come together. You can see a little cat cameo there. And yeah, you want them I had them go just above the knees, and honestly, it looks pretty good and the feathers don't really fall off. Okay, so shoe time. I love these shoes, so let's get on to them. So basically, I just brought these Chelsea boots off of Vinted for like a £5, and I want to make the pointed toe. So I'm drawing it out in foam, and then I think this is 3mm. And I'm just going to cut out kind of a rough pointed toe type deal, like so, and just make sure it fits on the boot like that, and it curls up and looks pretty good. I might cut this down a bit later, I'm not sure. And anyway, I want to make 2 of these because I want to double it up basically, so it's thick enough. So we're just going to chop, and chop off another bit of shoe, essentially. And assumably, yeah, I'm sandwiching together like so. And Should be using contact cement, but, you know, fast and nasty, so we're using super glue. Still gets the job done. So, yeah, we glue it down, and then I think we're going to get the scissors, and we're just going to, yeah. Oh, no, what are we doing next? Oh, next we're going to glue it, that, and just glue it straight to the end of the boot, like so. I think off camera I trimmed it up a bit, but I obviously cut that from thing. Next up, we want to make it, you know, join with the boot better, so we're going to use some foam clay, and just kind of like mold the clay between the foam and the boot to make, you know, one coherent piece of footwear. And obviously, like, you just smooth it out over time, like using water as well to smooth it out. You just want to make it look nice and smooth. You're going to do it on the bottom as well, just to make it all like kind of like merge into one shoe. And this is a good way if you want to do like these pointy like fancy shoes. Like, it's a really, really fun way to do it. Like so. See, doesn't that look good? And then obviously it looks a bit of the wrong colour at the moment. So there's an easy fix for that, which is to paint it black. Just paint it nice. As you can see, you've got that nice colour on the boot. They take a bit of getting used to walking in them, because your toe seems to like catch on stairs and stuff. But, you know, it looks pretty good. Anyway, for the underneath the boot, there's a cool detail where there's like this like heart detail underneath the boot. So we're just going to Tinkercad, and we're just going to make a heart outline. So make a heart, make a smaller heart, and then like do that. See, just chop it out, and then we've got the outline. And we're just going to stick that like that. You're never going to notice this, but it's a cool detail that I quite like. So we're just going to glue that to the bottom of the curled toe, basically. Not much commentary to give here. I'm literally just gluing something to a shoe. Excellent, we're onto something else now, which is the knife. I don't think this comes up incredibly well, but you know, it's a very integral part of the cosplay. So we're back on Tinkercad, and we've got a knife. I believe this comes from, I'm going to put it on screen if I can find where I got the blade from. I got the blade model from someone, and we're just using a little triangle to take the notch out. We're just kind of trying to replicate what the knife looks like. So to make a kind of a bezel, we're just making like a smaller version of the knife and like molding it into the main knife, just to kind of make it into one solid piece. And then we're I don't know what we're doing here. A lot of what we're doing I can't really remember. It's just to try to replicate the shape. So I'm just going to be waffling a lot as we look at this knife. I just want to show the full process for you, just so you can see how I did it. I don't know where the hell that came from, but that is the handle. I'm not sure if that... It obviously is a model from somewhere, but I genuinely cannot remember where the hell I got this model from. It might look so weird. I got the model from somewhere, obviously. So I'm taking this into the handle, basically, I guess. So, yeah. Okay, yeah. So I'm like trimming out some of the side of the blade to make almost like a tang. I think that's the word, on like a katana. So I can fit it in. And then we don't need to make this very accurate because we're going to add foam clay. Okay, I'm clearly just completely restarting with a handle now. Okay, that makes more sense. I could have cut that out, but, you know, we waffled, so that's good. So, yeah. We're making custom shapes for the things. Again, we're going to add foam clay over the top, so these do not need to be 100% accurate. They just need to give enough of the general shape for the foam clay, to kind of latch onto it. So yeah, that's what we're doing. We're making it the correct thickness, and we're slotting the knife in, and we're going to just like cut out a portion of the model just so the knife fits in very nicely. And again, just adding in these little details to the knife, like so, and then we're just going to print it. I think this is a PLA I'm printing this in, and doesn't that look nice? It looks a bit blocky, but again, we're going to put foam clay around it, like so. So we're literally just mounting it. Like, it looks kind of like lumpy and organic in the picture, so that was kind of the look I was going for. So it does look a bit naff, but that's kind of what I was envisioning. It just ended up not looking great. So we're literally just going to wrap this all in foam clay, because who doesn't love a bit of foam clay? And I wasn't smoothing out too much because, again, in my mind, and in the picture, I think it doesn't look particularly smooth. It looks a bit bumpy and lumpy. I'm not sure what material it's meant to be made of. And then we just add the blade in to make sure the blade fits. And then, yeah, we just like kind of like mold it all around with clay. I don't think I've got much more commentary here, because it is literally just me wrapping something in foam clay. But, you know, this is how you do it. Foam clay is a marvellous material. I wish I'd discovered it sooner. I've only recently, even though I've been doing foam work for like 8 years now. God, that's crazy. Like 8 years of foam work. I've only just really started using foam clay, and I really regret it, because it was great. And there's a knife finish. Doesn't that look nice? But there is still something we need to add on it, which is some paint, first of all. Make it nice and black. And then the other thing we need to add to it is some clear coat on the blade. I do not know what all of these clips in. Yeah, clear coat that like we clear coat everything. Anyway, the thing we need to add still is this, which is a little like ruby gemstone thing on the back. So we printed that and we're literally just going to super glue it in. Simple as that. And yeah, and then we're going to glue the blade in because there's no reason for it to come in and out. It's a small prop, we don't need to disassemble it. And that's the knife basically done. And here is me trying to look cool. Look how weird past me looks. Look at him, isn't he dashing, showing off his cosplay. Really, really cool stuff. Anyway, let's transfer over to another past me doing the outro. And so this is the complete fit, all on, and I must say it looks really cool. I was a little worried. Often I don't know anyone else does this, but often I make cosplays and they look great, but like stuff's always falling off of them. They're all falling apart, and they're just an absolute pain in the ass at cons. And I kind of felt this might be like that. I was like, the cloak's going to keep falling off, feathers are going to keep falling off. I just had the feeling stuff like that was going to happen. But no, actually, this has held up really well. I've just done the shoot. There'll be some photos on screen now. I'm going to put them all on screen. You have to check out the Instagram if you want to see them all. Yeah, it's all held out pretty well together. There was a few issues with some of the leg feathers, like the strips not being glued down properly, but they're back glued them properly now. Also a thing, you might notice this crown looks a lot bigger than the one we made earlier in the video. That's because I did a whole shoot and filmed this whole outro bit with the old crown. And then I got to editing the photos, I was like, this just looks terrible. The crown's way too small. Like the crown was like sitting on the top. And Uroro, or however you, I'm still even this far into the video, not actually quite sure how you pronounce it. Uroro, his crown, like it is meant to be like this. It's a big old wide crown, but it's not too tall. So it just didn't look good, the old photos. I put them on screen now. There's some old photos, unedited. But yeah, they didn't do it for me. So I printed a new crown, the bigger one, so that I could get this looking better. And I think it makes a lot of difference. I think it really pulls something together. The wig, it was it's my generic black spiky wig thing that I use for a lot of cosplays. I probably, when I debut this at con, I probably might style a wig specific to this to make it look a bit better, because I feel like we need some like tufts of hair coming, like spikes at the top as well, which we just don't really have. But I think it works pretty well. In terms of like improvements, I might improve how this cloak velcros on. It's not like it's coming off or anything. It is staying pretty secure. It's more, I don't know, you can like, when it pulls like this, you can still kind of see the velcro. See the velcro? So, you know, I might change that. Yeah, apart from that, I actually really like this cosplay. I think it's actually come out really, really well. Another thing you might have noticed is when we were making these, where is one? One of these back tassels. In the video, you might have noticed how I put 4 on. There's only 3. I don't know why in my mind I thought there was 4 of these damn things, but there's only 3. There's only ever been 3. I'm not quite sure how I got in my head there was 4 of them, but it meant that these were real pain to make. I don't know how much I expressed that earlier in the video, but these were a real nightmare to make. And knowing I made an extra one, I need to. It's a bit annoying in hindsight because that saved me a lot. Like, just the printing time on these things was an absolute nightmare. So to save time on that would have been nice. But, you know, there was no rush on this cosplay. I'm not planning to take this to a con till August. So I don't know when this video is actually going to come out. But at the time of filming, that's like 2-3 months away. So, you know, no rush on this. But yeah, there's nothing I want to add to this. Obviously, it's completely possible Uroro shows up again before the con, and he has like some weapon or something like that. I don't think he will, but if he does, then I may have to update parts of this. But I must say, like, sorry, I'm just looking. I've got a mirror behind the camera so I can like see what the camera's filming, so I'm not cutting myself off. But also I can see the fit. And these trials are awesome. We had a lot of trouble with these beads and these gold band thing. They're a nightmare, but the feathers look great. And these shoes, they're so whimsical. I love them. I love the shoes. Yeah, it's just really good. Yeah, so I hope you all, if anyone wants to do this cosplay, I hope my follow along process helps you with ideas. Again, these videos aren't meant to be tutorials as such. They're more, you know, I'm making a cosplay, I'm bringing it on with me. You can see all the mistakes I make and learn from them. You can watch me do some very bizarre choices and you'll be like, why did he do that? That collar bit's come off. You'll be like, why did he do that? So, you know, learn from my mistakes. But I hope this was entertaining and informative. I love this cosplay. I mean, it's a real cool one. Don't know where I'm going to store it. I've got no cosplay to store as it is. But, you know, that's the video. It's been a while since, well, it's been a while since I filmed one of these. I'm making quite a few cosplays at this exact moment. I'm making like 4 different cosplays at the moment, and I'm recording all of them, so all of them should hopefully be on the channel. I'm not sure which is coming out. Either this is going to be the first one up, or it's going to be a different up first. So either this is the first video in ages, and welcome back, or I have already uploaded one of the other videos. In which case, there's more to come, unless this one's the last one. But I'm hopefully, I want to be more consistent on the channel, because it's fun, it's enjoyable. So yeah, the big ramble at the end is Real Ramble channel. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something, even from mistakes. And as the tagline of this channel is, your cosplays are probably better than mine. It's something like that. Like, I keep forgetting what it is. So I will check out the Instagram. You'll see all the pictures, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.